Peoples had given them refuge in their under Islamic control for centuries. The Muslims had given them refuge in those areas under Islamic order, control. For centuries, the Islam, for centuries, the Islam, Muslim, for centuries, the Muslim Isabella of Castile in had for centuries. Sorry, excuse me, my eyes hurt. For centuries, the Muslims had held sway over the Iberian Peninsula. With the marriage of Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile in 1469, modern Spain was born. From the point political power rested in the hands of these two Catholic majesties. Muslims' ascendancy was on the wane, and the Moors were soon expelled from the country altogether. With the expulsion of the with the expulsion of the Muslims, the handwriting was virtually on the wall for the Jews. In the 1492, the very year of Columbus' first voyage, the Spanish Inquisition, which was initially aimed at the Jews, but later expanded to include all non-Roman Catholics, began to operate in deadly earnest anti-Semitism and persecution. However, were nothing new to those Jews had been living in the Roman Catholic areas of Spain prior to 1492. Although Christopher Columbus was apparently a nominal practicing Roman Catholic in Catholic Italy and Spain, he was probably a clandestine Sephardic Jew in Genoa, Italy. The family Columbus was known as Colombo, but in Spain the navigator called himself as Cristobal Colon. Colon was a popular Sephardic Jewish name. It was very likely that Colin's family, because of anti-Jewish persecution, had migrated to Genoa from Spain before it was just shortly after young Christopher was born. It may be significant that Louis de Santiago, the court Isabel was himself a Sephardic Jew. He secured Jewish financing for the voyage of Columbus. Senior de Santiago was forced to flee Catholic Inquisition, Null, Spain, a few years after. A few years after Columbus's voyage. After his third voyage, Columbus and his two brothers were returned to Spain in chains and were thrown into prison, victims of the Inquisition. Although they were later released and Christopher was allowed one more voyage, the latter was eventually relieved of all command. Columbus died in poverty, alone and unknown, in the year 1506. It might be added that many of Columbus's crew, including the first man to set foot on shore of America, Luis de Torres, were Jews. It is possible that the Spanish Jews were hoping to find a refuge in the new land beyond the sea. In spite of his lip service to Roman Catholics, his probably Jewish background, Christopher Columbus was very possibly a secret Christian. He definitely held a firm belief in God, dependent on him all throughout his life. His name Christopher means Christ bearer. It is said that one day, as a small boy praying in church, he vowed that he would live up to that name and be Christ bearer. He became convinced that every Christian could